Hello, Army professionals and Army leaders. My name is Sergeant First Class Morgan, and today we're going to look at how we can apply Patrick Lencioni's proven leadership models to our context in the Army, and not just specifically the Army, but if you serve in any branch of the military. Lencioni's model is depicted as a pyramid where base issues like a lack of trust fuel higher problems. Which makes sense because if we don't trust the people that we're working with, our leaders or subordinates, then it impacts every other aspect. So I'm going to break this down into two parts. And the first part being focused on the base of the pyramid, which is the absence of trust and the fear of conflict. Again, regardless of relationship, personal or professional, trust is the foundation of any relationship and any team environment. And what's a relationship? A team. Fear of conflict. People hear the word conflict and immediately assume it's negative. Conflict isn't synonymous with negativity. Conflict can be positive if addressed appropriately. Fear of conflict creates false harmony. We want passionate but respectful debate. We want to avoid political correctness and overcorrection of certain things. You know what I mean? As a leader, especially as a non-commissioned officer, I am not a mindless drone for those who are superior to me in rank or position. As a leader, it is my job to occasionally, professionally and respectfully, push back against my superiors. And there's an appropriate way to do that. And it's not for the sake of creating conflict for the sake of conflict either. It is a healthy form of conflict. Part two of these dysfunctions, because we have lack of trust and lack of uh, healthy conflict that builds upon other issues, other dysfunctions, such as lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. A lack of commitment causes hesitation. Is this worth my time? Is it worth, committing to this? And that not only impacts people mentally, emotionally, in a professional sense, but also in a personal sense, because they may be so checked out and just overwhelmed with their commitment to the Army that they question if they have anything left to be committed to their family, their faith, their personal or professional growth outside of the commands, directives, so on and so forth. And then fourth, you have the avoidance of accountability. And the avoidance of accountability isn't just of oneself, it's also the avoidance of accountability and holding incompetent leaders accountable, allowing them to persist with toxicity and just ruining the Army profession of not only leaders, but the core of non-commissioned officers. Fifth, and this is a big one, especially with the military having a no-fail mission, inattention to results ignores our warrior ethos and values. The Army, the U.S. military as a whole, can only accomplish our mission holistically as a team that prioritizes collective success over individualism or putting ourselves in silos where, oh, I'm only focused on my team, my job, my company, my unit, my battalion, my command. No, it's a holistic mission. If one part fails, the other parts are doomed to fail as well. Another aspect of Lencioni's models and principles is the ideal team player. And they are focused on three virtues: humble, hungry, and smart. And these three virtues complement the dysfunctions by emphasizing individual character. In the Army, they ensure leaders in practice, not only in title, are grooming subordinates to be future leaders, avoiding the pitfall of being politically correct and virtue signaling, but rather being skillful leaders, not skillful politicians. This Venn diagram illustrates that balance. To integrate these models and address Army issues, this table shows how virtues address criticism and trends while promoting real cultural change through merit and character. Understand that the dysfunction of things such as absence of trust, how it relates to current Army issues such as mental health and politicization. Understanding that the dysfunction of fear of conflict equates to moral collapse. Understanding that the dysfunction of lack of commitment equates to the stress of high op tempos that are unmanageable with poor leadership. Understand that the dysfunction of the avoidance of accountability correlates to the Army issue of nominal leaders who are leaders in position, rank, or pay grade, but not necessarily in character or the way they live their lives. And lastly, understanding that the dysfunction of inattention to results and how it impacts the Army or the military in general is it weakens readiness. Lencioni's pyramid model, almost like a domino effect, shows how interconnected dysfunctions in a team impact the organization as a whole. If one thing fails, systematically everything else begins to fail as well. How it relates to the Army: it addresses morale collapse from politicization, hyperfixation on non merit based unity for the sake of virtue signaling diversity initiatives instead of the shared mission and values of every soldier, regardless of race, political background, faith, this, that, and the other. Focusing on military culture being focused on unity of shared values and mission, and the validations, how they're potentially applicable in military settings for better cohesion amongst a population of troops that mirrors the diversity of the population that we serve. With this, these models equip us to overcome dysfunctions and embody ideal virtues, fostering a merit based culture. Let's commit to assessing and developing our teams, but also ourselves as leaders.